Hey everyone, it's Anna. Today I want to talk about the death penalty, the story of Marcellus Williams, and the hypocrisy of those in power who claim to value life but allow our system to take it away. Marcellus Williams was a man caught in the crosshairs of a deeply flawed system, a system that failed him in every possible way. Convicted of a crime with evidence that never definitively linked him to the scene, Marcellus spent years on death row fighting for his life. Despite new DNA evidence that did not match him, and the pleas from legal experts, activists, and even the family of the victim, Marcellus was denied clemency by Missouri Governor Mike Parson. In 2017, Marcellus was granted a stay of execution due to the mounting evidence of his potential innocence. The world watched as his case was examined, hoping that our justice system would finally do what it often fails to do, admit its mistakes. But that hope was shattered when Parson, ignoring the pleas of the opposing counsel, the wishes of the victim's family, and the cries of thousands of Americans, chose to proceed with the execution. Marcellus Williams was not spared. He was killed by the state. Governor Mike Parson, a self-proclaimed pro-life politician, had the power to grant clemency. He had the opportunity to show mercy, to recognize the glaring issues in Marcellus' case, and to value a human life over flawed conviction. Instead, he turned his back on the overwhelming evidence, on justice, and on humanity. His decision was not just a legal one, it was a moral failure. This is the hypocrisy of those who wear the pro-life badge while simultaneously supporting the machinery of death that is our prison industrial complex. To claim the mantle of pro-life while endorsing state-sponsored executions is a complete contradiction that cannot be ignored. If we are truly a society that values life, how can we justify the deliberate ending of it, especially when the system is so clearly broken? The Department of Justice claims its mission is to achieve 4 primary goals: punishment, incapacitation, rehabilitation, and deterrence. But in the context of the death penalty, these aims ring hollow. Let's start with punishment and incapacitation. The state argues that execution serves as the ultimate punishment, permanently removing an individual from society. But what good is this when the process is rife with errors, bias, and a disregard for human fallibility? Marcellus Williams' execution exemplifies how punishment and incapacitation often equate to an irreversible miscarriage of justice. This system tells us that taking a life somehow balances the scales of justice, but this is nothing more than a show of power, a power that ignores the possibility of innocence and the value of every human life, including those accused of the most heinous crimes. This isn't justice, it's a tragic abuse of authority. Then there's rehabilitation. The DOJ claims that rehabilitation is a cornerstone of the criminal justice system, yet the death penalty obliterates any chance of transformation. Prisons are rarely designed to heal or offer true opportunities for change, at least in the United States. They are, overwhelmingly, institutions of punishment. The death penalty completely nullifies the concept of rehabilitation. How can we claim to offer redemption when we can't decide that some lives are even worth the chance? Finally, deterrence. We are told that the death penalty deters crime, but study after study has shown that it doesn't. States with the death penalty do not have lower murder rates than those without it. The reality is, the death penalty does not prevent crime. It only perpetuates the cycle of violence that it claims to deter. In his own words, Marcellus captured the beauty of human connection, of love, of simple being. There is so much beauty and comfort in being in love and just being. How strange it is to become aware of another's heartbeat, but forget one's own. These are not the words of a monster, but of a human being, a man who, despite everything, still found beauty in the world. Marcellus' poem is a stark reminder of his humanity. It is incredibly easy to dehumanize those behind bars, to reduce them to the worst words about them on paper. But Marcellus was more than the charges against him. He was a father, a son, a friend, an artist. The state stripped him of his life, but it wasn't able to take away his humanity. We must reckon with the reality that the death penalty is not about justice. It's about power, control, and a deeply flawed notion of retribution. Our system focuses on punishment, not rehabilitation, and it fails everyone involved, from the accused to the victims and their families. Governor Parsons' decision was not just a legal misstep, it was an abdication of moral responsibility. As a society, we must ask ourselves, how many more lives must be lost before we recognize that the death penalty has no place in a just world? Marcellus Williams' tragic death is a reminder of the cost of this system. It is time we demand better, not just for those on death row, but for all of us. Marcellus deserved better. We all do. Let us not forget his stories, his words, and his humanity.